Hello everyone and welcome to my corner of the world. So this week we're reviewing things and I thought I would review a book series that I recently read that taught me a very valuable lesson. It's called The Fever Series by Karen Marie Moning. Now it doesn't seem like the kind of book series that you'd really learn something about, but anyway, so I'll tell you a bit about it. So this girl, she's 22, her name is Michaela Lane, she calls herself Mac for short. She finds out that her sister has been brutally murdered and she goes to Dublin around the Trinity College area to learn about who and what happened and why her sister was killed. What she doesn't realise is that she's fallen into a world of complete and utter, unfathomable depth. Like, we're talking the Fae. I don't know if you know the Fae, but it's a smaller word for the fairies, but not fairies like, little wings and granting wishes. There's a light court, which is the Seelie, and there's a dark court, which is the Unseelie, ruled by either the Seelie Queen or the Unseelie King, and there's a whole huge ass story about trying to save the world from being taken over by the dark court and the really pompous light court thinking they're so much better than humans. But anyway, so basically the lesson I learned was something that the main character is taught by one of the characters, Jericho Barons. Now Jericho Barons is a man of huge conviction and only says as much as he has to, and one thing he said to her was that fear kills but hope survives. In other words, if you really want to live through this world, you need to have hope, because if you just live in fear or you live in squalor of what might happen and all kinds of bad things like that. For example, the Australian government just ruled in the Liberal Party as leading party, so Tony Abbott is the Prime Minister now. Now everyone was really unhappy about that, and they were all like, oh no, what's going to happen? We won't have gay marriage. We won't have all these other things and it's going to be horrible. But my thing is, we're a really young country here in Australia. I mean, we have made 250 years of history, which is really, in the scheme of things, nothing. We have all the time in the world, and I know it's not that, it's just based on principle. We should have our rights. But, I think if we've been patient this long, we can be patient for another term or however long it takes, because eventually, guys, it's going to happen. And this is what I'm saying. You need to have hope that one day it'll happen, because if you just constantly live in the fear that it's never going to happen, where will you get in life? What is the point in living this life if you're just going to live in fear of what might happen or might not happen? I mean, as far as worrying about what people think, which is another thing that we face a lot, my auntie once told me something that I will never ever forget, and it lives with me to this day. She asked me, do people pay you rent? And I was like, what? No. And she's like, then why do you let them occupy your mind? And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's a pretty valid statement, and it slowly started to sink in for me what she was saying. And since then, I've been telling other people this. I've been, trying to teach them the idea that their business is their business and your business is your business. What they think is what they think, and what you think is what you think. You really don't need to be worried about what other people think. I know it's near impossible to not worry about things like that, but if you can worry about it less, life will be so much happier for you. Because honestly, I mean, what more is there than happiness in this world and helping each other? Anyway, so back to the book series. So book 1 is called Dark Fever. Now, this is her learning about this world she's fallen into, getting into her, groove of things. There's blood fever, there's fae fever, there's dream fever, and there's shadow fever. And in each book, she learns a new lesson. Now, the other ones are not really all that relevant to us. It's more in a relevance of survival and things like that, I suppose. But, she ends up finding love in a place she never thought, and she finds out that she has a rather strange past and something rather dark is happening. And Jericho, she finds out, is also rather dark, and she finds out what he is and what's going on with him in probably, I think, fae fever, maybe shadow fever, because it takes a long time for them to reach that point. Most books, by the second or even first book, the love has happened and they're all happy. This is an ongoing battle between them two, because she needs to become the woman that I suppose she wants to be and he needs her to be, and it takes 4 books for her to finally learn that hope survives and fear kills. I mean, that's basically the whole thing. She constantly lives in the hope that her world will come back, and the hope that she'll be able to do this big quest and mission, and I won't tell you too much. So there's these things called she-seers, right? And she's supposedly one of them, and she learns that she's a null, and a null is basically, I mean, spoilers, I probably should have disclaimed this at the beginning, but she's a null, and that's basically one of the most powerful she-seers. She is spelled S-I-D-H-E, and I wonder if it means she in Celtic or Celtic or however you want to say it, because Shisirs are only women. There has never been a male Shisir, so yeah, maybe that's what that word is about. And they have all different other kinds of words, like, well, Fae is one of them. Fae is a very Celtic word. It's spelled F-A-E, not like F-A-Y or anything. And there's Vlaine, which is like V''L-A-N-E. It's one of the Seelie princes. And there's Seelie royalty, and the Queen has 4 princes, 4 princesses, and the Unseelie King has the same. So it's pretty in depth. And Michaela, she goes through a lot. Like, there's all kinds of themes. Like, it's not for kids like at all. It's a very heterosexually charged kind of book series. So if you don't like heterosexual scenes in books or anything like that, I really suggest that you don't watch this, because I promise you, if you get disgusted easily, I mean, you shouldn't. It's just sex and love and everything. But it's really sexually charged. Like, it talks a lot about her reactions, and with the stronger the fairy, the more sexually charged they are. She calls them death by sex fairies, because you literally want to die for sex. Once you've had sex with a fairy, you become impossibly needy of them, and it's kind of like a drug to the point of killing yourself. And there's all kinds of other evil ones. There's one that like absorbs the beauty of the person next to them. He's called the Grey Man, and you find out later that there's also a Grey Woman. So there's kind of like a male-female counterpart for every kind of Fae in general. And it's not like one's light and one's dark. It's just that there's different kinds of fairies, and you find out like a really disgusting one. One of the most common Fae is a case called the Rhino Boys, which you'll learn a lot about, and there's a lot of really gruesome stuff, like not human cannibalism, but there is cannibalism, and yeah, it's really kind of gross. So I think I've spoiled the book series enough. It's called The Fever Series, and it's by Karen Marie Moning. I suppose if you like supernatural themes and paranormal themes, and you like a bit of sexual charge in a book series and a bit of excitement, this is definitely one I would recommend, because it's really in depth, and she learns all kinds of life lessons about survival. And there's a point in the series where the world just kind of stops. Anyway, again, spoilers. So that's all for me for this week. I hope you're having a lovely weekend. Over here, spring has started, and it's just blooming, and it's beautiful, and yeah, I'm just so happy. Unfortunately, I'm really sick. I don't know if you noticed in my video on my channel, but if you follow me or if you're subscribed, I sound like crap. We're really sorry about these past couple of weeks. Life has just been so hectic and insane, and we try as much as we can, but it hasn't been happening for us. This year, 2013, has been really, really bad. I don't know, has it been bad for you? Because I just feel like this whole year has been either really unfortunate or really trying. For me, next year is going to be all kinds of challenging, but I'm getting my life back together, and I'm doing all kinds of things that I really love, and I'm structuring my life, and I'm doing things that I never would have done before. And I've even considered, because a lot of people have told me that I should go into modeling, and I've never really considered it as a career path, and I still don't consider it as a career path, but not for me anyway. I can't see myself being in the model world. But I need to earn money, and at the moment work is scarce. So if I can answer casting calls and build a portfolio, that would be fantastic. So to summarize or conclude, or summary, I suppose. Fear kills, guys. You mustn't live in fear. Hope is what helps you survive. If not anything else, live in the hope that tomorrow will be a better day, because you never know what's going to happen in the future, and that's exciting and scary all at once, and that's the human condition. Ciao for now. This video was brought to you by the colour fuchsia and the disposition of duality. We will see you next time on Time of Gay. Bye bye now.